Hello. How's everybody? It's Wednesday, my dudes. We are back to play Dungeons and Dragons, the Reclamation campaign. As you can see, with two distinctly absent players, well, actually, one distinctly absent, the other one left up in the air. Kay is traveling, visiting family, but should be joining us just a little bit later. Ben, due to unforeseen circumstances beyond his control, could not make it tonight. Might show up, but I'm leaning more likely towards not. So, bear with us as we go about today's session, focusing on some more minor aspects of the game and things within the camp, so that way we don't have anybody left behind when we start the next mission. With that in mind, I believe it was Zhao. It was agreed upon you were going to give us our brief summation of what happened last time.
Sure, can do.
Neat.
Last time we started off, still on our way back to, well, the encampment, the base. We had settled down, and we knew, out of character, that Titan was going to get some information, just not, our in-character selves didn't know how. So most of us split off and decided to head out and gather some herbs for alchemy and the like, while Titan stayed behind to interrogate, in quotation marks. And he got a lot of info.
It was
out
an
of the bandit.
interrogation.
It was. It was a harsh one though, and eventually, once that business was done, I think the rest of the group was out for about 8 hours finding materials. Came back, and well, none of us had any reason to really doubt what Titan was saying, and he wasn't exactly lying either. He just wasn't giving all the facts, so we left things be, and we knew we had info, and we decided, you know what, instead of waiting, and with the info that Titan had just gotten, with it being maybe time sensitive, let's rip that little ticket and show up into camp early. So that's what we did, and once we did, everyone in the group kind of split ways. Everyone, mostly everyone, heading to get a bath, a well-deserved bath. And doing their own things, visiting family, running errands, grabbing materials, dropping things off. And of course, before all that, I forgot that we went back to Covert to report and introduce Vanya to him, so she could get her stuff started. But yeah, we all went about, did our things, and we kind of were at the beginning of our little downtime, but somewhere along the way, Lilith also, was kind of encouraged to let the group know, the rest of the group that doesn't know, about her amulet and the spirits and what that entails. And she did. She let us know, us being Titan and Corona mostly, who weren't in the know before. And, well, now we have a little bit of info and maybe a potential worry for the future, but for the time being, the spirits have been helpful. And I think it's fair to say that the party's bond, having come back from a successful mission, grew a little stronger. So now it's time for some rest and some downtime.
Very good. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to add?
It's good with me.
No, it seems good.
Neat. All right. As previously mentioned, due to two currently unavailable players, we're just kind of taking things at our own pace, rather at the characters' paces, and the players' desired wants for things they want to get into or avoid, perhaps. So that being said, it is the morning following everyone's return. You came in, talked to people you wanted to talk to, had baths, revealed some truths, etc. As Zhao just so politely surmised for us. And it is now the following day. It is 13, lightly cloudy. The day is yours, all of yours. I know there's a small list of things people would like to accomplish in no particular order. If anyone would like to pursue, you may.
What's Corona want to do today?
Oh, I get to start. Uh,
Zhao.
well, oh man, it's gonna be one of those days, huh? No, okay. So, well, Corona, I think having only been a day, she's not gonna go bother Vanya just yet. I think she probably wants to get started on some leather working and the like, so she's probably going to spend most of the first day here, seeing if there's anyone that's selling, just workable leather, as well as like selling the tools to work them. Because she wants to get started on some proper like footwear for Melody, um,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually wants to, have something to wear on her head so that the sun isn't in her eyes all the time, and eventually make a hat for herself. There's a lot of things that were left in Greenwood that she
Mm-hmm.
couldn't bring for obvious reasons, so if she has to, she'll make them.
Yeah. No problem. You do know that the merchantry has all kinds of goods available, just, probably at a price that is not as preferable. But you think if you would like to pursue some leather working tools there, it is not out of the question. Um, as for material, based off of the camp's current situation, you either go retrieve it for yourself or you buy it. And usually buying it from somebody is going to cost obviously cost more than it would require for you to bring it in
Oh, for
yourself
sure.
usually.
Hmm.
But because even the people that might not be price gouging, it's still going to be expensive. It just, there's a war on. Things are valuable. Leather is needed for all kinds of things. And so, yeah, it's leather doable. You just got to decide who you want to go talk to and how much you're willing to pay for it.
Okay. And just to refresh my memory, leatherworkers tools are how much? See.
Leather workers tools are 5 silver normally.
Okay.
Um, but
And because of the
if you're to acquire them from the merchantry, they are 8.
yes, 8. Okay. So she'll do that to start. Forget how these sheets work. Perfect. Can do that. Okay. So she'll get those leatherworker tools. She'll pay 8 silver for them. Um, is leather I know that it's obviously important. Every material is needed right now. Is it in a particular shortage? Because if it is, she might defer to just finding the leather herself. But if it's not in shortage, she might spend big if she has to.
Um, it is not short, but it is sought after currently.
Okay.
Like I said, war is fresh.
Yeah.
It is brutal, and so lots of things that require leather, have been called for repairs and things of that nature. And this is just within the small ecosystem of this camp, even that is still highly sought after. So much so that people bringing in leather can sell it for a good price.
Okay.
So two sides of that table.
Sure. Um, I think she'll. I mean, needless to say, she'll be looking around for materials today. Maybe if she sees, Vanya, she'll like catch up with her, but she's not going to go and bug her after one day.
That's
Um,
fair. I do think, and someone else can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I threw some leather into the various doodads you guys brought back with you from the bandit mission.
We have 2 leather scraps, 1 hide, and 1 hide scrap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little something in there at least.
There's a little bit. Yeah.
It depends
And I mean,
on
the thing
what
she's
your goal is.
right. Yeah, I imagine that like a hat and shoes wouldn't use too much, but I don't know if it's enough. So, okay. And also, if anyone is going to use those as well, we haven't really discussed the specifics. I don't think, have we?
Let me say, I know some people had some things they wanted to get done. I don't think anybody was really making anything beyond what was already made.
Right.
So like, the armor that was made for Audi, I think that's the only thing the group was collectively making together. I know Titan's going to try to enchant the scale armor to make it a bit more valuable for selling. And then he has it on his list to start up a bag of holding, which I have to alter the recipe of, which would also use leather for its worth.
Okay.
But other than
In
that,
that
no.
case-
But he's also breaking down a bunch of stuff too, which I think would still manage to get you guys some additional scraps.
Okay. Then you know what? I think it's better if we hold off on that because the bag of holding just has infinitely more worth than a hat. So, I think knowing that Corona will probably just see to it that she'll find the material some way. It's not a priority.
Mhm.
It's just something that she'd like to do. But if she can't do it, she'll find something else.
The hat is for Audie. Audie might be wearing Callista's hat soon.
No, the hat's for Corona.
Yeah, no.
The
The
shoes
boots are
for Audie.
Yeah.
The shoes for Audie, yeah. But yeah, otherwise, like I said, she's gonna be moving around the camp today. And if she can't find any people that are selling that stuff, then she'll just help around. She'll ask around, anyone need help, blah blah blah. So today might be the day for hijinks, maybe for her. Accidental hijinks. And then
Accidental,
I
you
think
say.
tomorrow, I think tomorrow will be Vanya Day.
Sure. So that being said, you can find. Let me quickly get the reference. Like I said, it's not that there isn't leather; it's just that it is expensive currently. Currently, leather scraps, which are normally a pretty cheap material, are going for 3 times their normal price, which in the grand scheme isn't crazy, which is 3 bits, so 3/10 of a silver. But it takes I believe 10 of them to make a single piece of leather.
Ah, okay.
So yeah.
So 3 silver overall.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
So I mean, you guys have a decent amount of money right now. It wouldn't be impossible to get the things. You just have to pony up a moderately more amount of silver than you'd expect to pay for such a thing.
Okay. If she can kind of figure out how much she might need for the footwear, she'd rather prioritize the footwear over the hat right now.
Okay.
She'll pony up for that.
Well,
And
there
she'll
is
worry about the hat later.
there's a lovely little section in Kibble's Compendium of Crafting, which is what we're using. There's a tiny little section on cobbling is one of the minor branches that tells you about shoes, boots, nice boots, and fancy boots, and the parts and things you need to make them. Which is to say, the price gap for the first 2 reasonable, and then a gigantic jump on the last 2. So decide exactly how hard you want to go into Audi shoes.
Okay. I might need a moment.
Yeah. Take some time. We can go bother someone else.
Okay.
All right, someone else. Who am I bothering?
What's Lilith up to today?
Oh boy. Well, Lilith, trance for 4 hours, came out of it knowing how to use a poisoner's kit for plans.
Yep, that's us.
But she doesn't immediately go to purchase a poisoner's kit because she still has like 4 hours before any reasonable person is awake at this time.
You're talking like you're the only elf in the camp.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like a lot of elves have to, when they're around other people, are like, gotta spend this 4 hours doing nothing. All the other people are asleep.
Well, I mean, if you want to spend your time doing whatever else you want, then by all means, I'm not going to stop you. I'm just saying it's not impossible.
Yeah, so she's gonna pull out her calligrapher supplies and start writing and spend an entire 4 hours drafting and undrafting and destroying and finally finishing a letter to send to her mother.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised it only took 4 hours.
Yeah, she's good at writing.
Oh, I bet. Probably has really nice handwriting.
Very pretty.
It's all part
That
about being
being said-
a warrior diplomat.
Exactly. That being said, she's going to go searching the camp for a mail service of some kind.
That's in the brothel.
So, I mean, joking aside, that's not entirely untrue. You think there would be one obvious thing for you to consider is that there would be there's a clear form of communication between the camp and the Saphinus military command. That's how you receive missions. So someone is communicating, to which you would probably assume Covert's the one doing it. There are Saphinus representatives here, such as the Gate Warden, the one responsible for teleporting mercenaries to missions. And likewise, you would have seen on the handout for at the Ivory Seductress that there is in fact a message delivery service that they offer.
She'll go to Covert first. Just got a question for him anyway.
Sure.
Go
Yeah.
to his tent, see if he's around.
Joke's on you. He's on his stand. You've never seen this man sleep. He's at the desk on the elevated platform in the center of the camp, still just writing away with an unseen servant next to him doing the same.
Good morning, Covert.
Good morning, Lilith. And how can I help you this fine morning?
Two things actually. First
Mhm.
of all, would you happen to know the best way to get a letter sent to Galanthos?
How secure do you need it to be?
There's nothing that's, secret in it or anything like that.
Right. Question 2. How quickly would you like it to arrive?
It doesn't need to be delivered in a day, but quickly enough, I suppose.
Okay, then you have 3 options. 1, the what I will call the economy route. There is a train of supplies that passes from this camp back to Galanthas every 2 weeks. You can leave it with them, and they will take it with them and deliver it when they go. 2, you can pay me a tidy sum, and I will have it magically delivered directly to your mother. I don't really offer this as a service normally. This is consider a favor of a family friend.
She kind of clears her throat and glances away as he calls her out for the fact that it's for her mother, because she hadn't mentioned that.
He just took a shot in the dark. Your face confirms it. 3, and I know you and your friends just so love having excuses to go play at the front door. The Seductress offers a messaging service as well. They're linked through Harbor, and Harbor has several reliable messaging services that transport all around the world. So those are your options. In tier wise, you've got the lowest one, the handcart the caravan delivery, slowest, unsafest, You've got the Seductress, which is a good middle road where they do it pretty quickly. But I can't offer any personal guarantees. You'd have to take that up with Rieslin and then directly through me, which, to be quite honest with you, given that I'm in direct contact with the military command, would probably be the most secure choice and the quickest, given that I talk to them every day.
Well, I suppose the question would be how much would having you deliver it be?
Me, it's 25 silver.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Oh, look at you. Complete one mission, rob a bunch of bandits blind after you murder them, and you think you're rolling in money.
Well, it's not doing any good just sitting in my pocket.
I mean, that's fair. I'm just saying. You're not always going to come back with a treasure chest full of silver. But if that's what you want, I'll do it. I'm not convincing you otherwise.
Sure, might as well. And she will pull out the 25 silver and the letter.
All right.
Are really that easy to read?
He stops, looks at you with a very straight face, and then just slowly the flat expression turns into a smirk. Given you are asking about sending a message to the capital, given who your siblings are, if you wanted to contact them through other means, you could. I made an assumption. That's all. If it were anybody else, and if I didn't know your mother, it would be a fair, less likely circumstance. But here we are. I just happen to have insider information.
Fair enough. She will slide the coins in the letter.
Thank you. He opens up a drawer and just like sweeps all the coins in. But it's interesting when he sweeps the coins in, you don't hear them ever land. They sweep, fall in, and he closes the drawer with no noise. Okay, secondary question is for the delivery letter. Do you wish to keep the contents of it between only you and your mother?
I'm assuming that somebody is supposed to look over anything that's being sent to my mother to make sure it's safe.
Yes, this is true. The difference is I can more or less choose who the intermediary is. Like, for instance, I can be the one to read it and sign off on it and have it sent straight to your mother after that. Or if you want to have someone else in the, intelligence division read it and then send it along. I'm not sure if it's better if you know the person or you don't.
You can read it if you want.
Well, I mean, personally, I don't. I think it's kind of weird to read other people's mail, but different times.
At the end of the day, it's not like I said anything super embarrassing.
Did you tell your mother you love her?
In a way.
Do you want to edit it before you leave?
I spent 4 hours editing it already.
Okay.
It's as good as it's going to get.
Fair. Yeah, all right. Just don't take this the wrong way. As someone whose mother has passed on, and with a war going on in which your mother is leading, you might not get the chance if you didn't say so direct. I'm just telling you not to have a regret that I have. That's all. I can also understand if you have some complicated relationship stuff to work out with your mom and you'll not be comfortable with that either. Just, perspective.
Just makes it so head. Like, take the letter, please.
Yep. Takes it, puts it into a different drawer. Well, this was a great conversation.
Yeah, pushing past all of that, I did have another question.
Yeah,
Do you know if there's anywhere or anyone in camp that would be knowledgeable on death?
You're
death
Good.
energies?
Yeah. Oh, that's a little bit more specific. About to say death. I mean, everyone here is a killer, basically, for what that's worth. Can you tell me anything more?
I'm looking to learn more about this relic. And she kind of holds it up. I had Titan cast a spell to identify it, and all that he really got was that it had death energy, not necrotic or anything like that. Death.
Okay. I have two answers for you, one of which you'll like and one of which you might feel indifferent about or completely dislike. So, if what Titan found out is true, death energy, very specifically death energy related to God of Death, you basically need someone who's been around long enough and has experienced a bit of it to maybe get a better grasp. So you have two choices. You either want to go visit the acting commander of the Lycross Company Bandit, who's been around for a while and has dealt with, unfortunately for him, a lot of death. Or you can go talk to somebody who has basically an endless wealth of knowledge at their fingertips, but will probably want you to do something to get it, and that's Tatiana, whose mother was one of Seshok's original troopers from the First War, and as such, has an absurd amount of information that she's provided to her daughter. So, pick your poison, I guess.
I think I'll be starting with Bandit. They seemed nice when they were training me the other day.
Wise choice. That is the safe decision.
We'll see if I make the other decision afterwards.
Yep. This isn't for you, but there is a fairly strict no killing rule amongst the mercenaries here. So bear that in mind should something happen. Make sure people can hear that it's happening, and somebody will come help.
She goes just that little bit paler.
Yeah.
Understood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you for the information and for the help with that letter. I think those of us from Greenwood are planning to take a couple days, and then we'll probably be back here.
Yeah, wise. We don't have the. We're still waiting for a couple of groups to come back with mission updates as to what's going on, and then we'll send that information back to Saphinus, and they'll send us back follow-up missions. So you have time. Don't feel rushed unless you want to go, do something of your own volition.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Could be worse. I mean, how far can you possibly go when there's nothing going on down here?
Yeah, I think I could make it to the woods and maybe hunt something, but other things to do for now.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
All right, talk to you later.
Yep, good luck.
She's gonna head over to the market. But what's Roz doing?
I see. It's just a game of popcorn today. Honestly, I'm pretty okay with it. Roz?
The most important thing Roz is doing right now is she's going to her granddad and dropping 100 silver in his lap, asking him to make a home for the family.
I think he has a moment where he looks at you, and then he looks at the sack of silver, and he looks back at you, and he looks at the sack of silver, and then he just gives you a really firm couple pats on the shoulder and just doesn't ask a single question.
Right. I thought I was going to have to answer for myself somehow or something, but you and Rory deserve better than to sleep in the dirt, so thank you.
I'll see what I can do.
All right. And if there's any problems or whatever, uh, maybe we'll be able to sweet talk our way into things, you know? Because I know not everyone could have a home, but at the same time, it's 100 silver. It's not a small amount.
I'll do my best. And if I run into problems, I'll come get you. How does that sound?
All right. That sounds great. By the way, came home safe and sound. Look at me. Not a scratch on me.
He sizes you up. Kind of like, again, by the shoulder, kind of like turns you around until you're facing him again. And you see him just give you a nod. Oh, perhaps this, you found your true calling.
We all knew I was going to do it eventually anyway.
How about next time you ask Destiny to leave us a home before you get your start?
You know, if I could talk to Destiny, I'd probably call the bitch a righteous cunt.
Well, you're going to be traveling more. You'll find an opportunity, I'm sure.
Oh, I will. It'll be another couple of days still before I have to go on another mission, but, you know, I hope you can do something with that.
He jingles the bag. I'll do my best.
All right. I'm going to go find Lilith now because she's getting possessed by ghosts and I need to go check in on that situation.
And now all of Bridgewood does.
I mean, you're not wrong. But also one of those moments where, again, he just stares at you. Just nods slowly.
Ross has a brief moment where she realizes that she has spilled a secret, looks embarrassed, then leaves.
And Roz heads off to find Lilith.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'd imagine since Lilith had some time to talk with Covert, it wouldn't be hard for you two to intersect as Lilith is heading towards the merchants or the craftsmen?
Wherever she can buy a poisoner's kit.
The merchants. Well,
But who notices who?
that's a good question. Given both of your passive perceptions, it might be a while.
They're both so short. But Lilith has a giant mound of blue hair.
You definitely stand out. Why don't you both just make a... Well, Lilith, your attention is pretty squarely focused on finding the poisoner's kit amongst these stalls. So, Roz, why don't you roll a perception check?
You got it. I don't have my dice up, so I'm just going to roll in front of the board.
Yeah, it's okay. Oh, nice.
Wow.
All right. Great roll.
Nice.
Natural 20.
Yeah, you find her like a homing missile.
It's my gaydar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pinging furiously. She was close.
Oi, Lilith.
Stops. Turns.
I might have accidentally told my grandfather a secret.
Which one?
Don't worry about it. What you up to?
Bearers. Shopping.
Shopping for what?
Kit to make poisons.
You know how to make poisons?
I can, on occasion, know how to make poisons.
Do you know how to do literally everything?
No, not everything.
Right,
Or do
well,
I?
for right now, I'm just going to bother you, and when you've got a free moment, I need to have a bit of a conversation with you and also with Callista and Bellator.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned wanting to talk to them.
Did I? I was so drunk.
You were very drunk.
Excuse me, ma'am, are you still interested in the poisoner's kit?
Yes, sorry, how much was that again?
80 silver pieces.
She blows some air out through her nose, but will hand over the silver, knowing full well she's being ripped off.
Yeah, what's your passive insight? I'm assuming not great. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, you don't notice anything. You and Rouse both.
Massive?
bright side.
11.
Yeah, nothing to see here.
You said 80?
80. Yeah, 80.
Well, if there's any bright side to this, it's that I am left with 69 silver.
Does Lilith say that, or is that Quinn?
That's Quinn.
Okay. That's
I
important.
don't think Lilith knows what those numbers mean.
That's fair. Yeah, probably not. Although, go on.
That's all I wanted to buy, so I guess we could head back to the tents.
All right.
And chat.
I think that's a great idea.
Thank you for your patronage, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye.
Come back anytime to the Gilden Rose Merchantry.
I'm sure I'll be back. You seem a lot less sure about this than last night, but I guess you had liquid courage before.
I know it's the right thing to do. It doesn't mean it's going to be the most fun conversation.
Well, how do we want to handle this? Am I going to just talk for them? Be a middle person?
I was figuring so. I wasn't exactly planning on you getting possessed by him.
Yeah, I guess that would kind of exclude me from the conversation based on prior experience.
Yeah, well, it concerns me and you and also them because they're part to you in a sort of way. And I kind of need to know how they feel about everything that's been going on. So, with that in mind, I know you two and Eric can hear everything I'm saying. Who wants to start?
Whose tent did you go back to?
Probably Lilith's.
Okay. Just thought I'd clarify for everybody involved. Lilith, you feel both spirits present, both ghosts. You know Bellathor in this particular situation, given that he's being spoken to directly and it is not by you, you do feel him shrink back a little bit. However, Callista does the exact opposite, and she becomes much more forward. And you can tell what she has this way of announcing her presence, of being directly focused on what's happening. Kind of like in this tiny little pin prickly feeling in the back of your neck. Well, I'm here whenever she wants to start. Worst case, if Bellathor doesn't listen, I can always tell him about it later. poor boy is quite shy.
They're listening.
All right. So by now, you're aware that Lilith and I are we kiss. That's the thing. That's the thing that we do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And Lilith, I'm going to say some things that might make you shut down. I need you to stay as present as possible, all right?
All right.
One day, it's entirely possible that it might be more than just kissing if we're both comfortable with that. The thing is, the two of you are both trapped in there and are forced to experience everything that Lilith goes through in some fashion or another. I don't know the details. So I kind of need to know what your thoughts are on the whole situation. Again, because you're kind of captive here.
Oh, that's what she's on about. And for the record, Lilith, if you wouldn't want me accidentally taking over, I wouldn't. The one time was an experiment. I will only ever do so with your permission, which I suppose is what's going on here, and it seems quite relevant. Which is to say, I perfectly and happily consent to anything that you two require in order to advance your not relationship. Because boy, did she dance around not calling you two something.
We'll sit there for a long moment, a little bit more after Callista finishes speaking. Good. She'll gently try to just prod Bellathor for a response as well, saying that if he's not comfortable speaking directly to Roz, he can still speak to her.
I unlike my compatriot, don't share the same sort of amiable spirit in this regard. In that, if I had the choice, I would not participate in your private life. However, on the days that we use my abilities and I have to sleep, I don't recall things that happen during the time I am resting, and so with a little foresight, I can be made happy with that arrangement.
Okay. We'll look to Roz. Callista is completely fine with it. Bellathor has some stipulations, but essentially it just comes down to working around it a little bit. We can make it work.
All right. I also want both of you two to know in there that while you're literally disembodied, you are also still people and you are a part of the party. And I would like to be your friend as much as it is possible. And if Bellator's shy and would rather not, that's fine. Callista doesn't seem that shy about it.
I think Roz has nailed it on the head. You know, Lilith dear, if you would allow me a small period of time in the near future, in which you allow me, when we are bonded, to use my magic through you, I might be able to find a way to temporarily disconnect Bellathor, so to speak. So that way you don't have to go through the hassle of exhausting him and yourself prior to exhausting yourself, if you follow my mean.
I follow. That's certainly something to look into as long as it's done safely. I wouldn't want to somehow lose Bellathor.
No, of course not. I believe our survival is of the utmost importance to both of us, given that we both have things we want out of this relationship.
And she'll look back to Roz and just say, sorry, what was your question again? Oh, right, you were saying friends. Yeah, as you, Callista has pointed out that your assumptions are entirely correct, essentially. Also, I feel it pointed to note that she says she has no intention of ever possessing me without my consent again. That was just a test.
That's good. I'm not sure still how I feel about the last time she did it, but as long as it was just a test, and she's not going to do it again without your consent. Yeah, all right, fine. We can still be friends.
That being said, if I ever, I don't know, get overwhelmed in the middle of a life or death scenario, do feel free to pull me out of danger.
Is that directed at us?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, there's a whole lot of magic and stuff, or I doubt you could do it if I fell unconscious, but...
Right. So contingent on your survival, we will make sure to do what we need to. I feel like that it is within reason. To be honest with you, I'd sort of already consider that part of this deal regardless, given that your death could consequently mean our death, and it is not ideal in either situation.
Yeah, I don't want that to happen to any of us.
No. And besides, I'm quite invested in seeing, when Roz finally gains enough courage to decide what to call you. And you can't die before that happens.
Yeah, that would be far too cliche.
Mm-hmm.
Done too many times.
Agreed.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk to them about, Roz?
I think that's it. Unless you wanted me to talk to one of them personally.
I don't think we need to do that right now.
Then I have got nothing else. So long as we all understand each other, seems like we do, we're going to all get along just fine. Oh, by the way, I may have accidentally sort of slipped to my granddad that this is a thing. So
Yeah, I kind of guessed that when you said you told your grandpa a secret and then refused to tell me what it was when I asked.
I'm sorry.
So all of Greenwood is going to know that I have ghosts in my head.
Mm-hmm.
That might become a problem in the future, won't it?
It might, but I mean, it wouldn't be the weirdest rumor I've heard them spread. I'm pretty sure a couple of them still think I'm a princess.
Well, are you?
No. But you get a lot of weird rumors when you wash up in a river and refuse to talk about your past for 3 years.
Understandable. Yes, everyone has a story like that.
Anyway, actually, about your magic, Callista, I was curious.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I can't do it today. I strengthened the bond with Bellathor because I planned on working with poisons, and I figured alchemy was hand in hand. But tomorrow, would you be willing to try and see if maybe working together we might be able to one day make a scroll using some of the spells you know?
I am certainly no stranger to making magic scrolls. We could figure something out. I even have a trick or two I can teach you.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yes. As a matter of fact, just make sure you have some parchment prepared tomorrow, and we can make a scroll together.
Ooh. I'll have to make sure we have the supplies on hand. Anyway, I'm gonna spend the next couple hours trying to make some poison. If you want to hang out, Roz, that's great. If not, I understand. It's a lot of sitting around and not a whole lot of interesting stuff.
Yep. Also, not a great fan of poison, so I'm going to go somewhere else.
Jump cut to Corona.
Yeah, what is Corona up to?
So, I looked at the document.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know what I'm gonna do. So I'll go for the tier 2 shoes.
Right. Very
'Cause,
reasonable.
yeah, tier 3, like you said, humongous
Yeah,
gap.
gigantic leap.
So yeah, we'll go for the tier 2. And now I guess it's just a matter of finding the tanned leather, unless if it's working the leather bits, or like the leather, the small leather bits into the tanned leather. I'm not sure how that part works.
Well, I mean, you could either buy the scraps to make the leather and then have to tan it yourself, which I believe is the step-by-step process for that, or you could just buy the tan leather, but buying the completed worked item, especially given that you will have to buy it from the merchantry, is going to cost you some.
Okay. I think Corona's the type of person to be hands-on about it, so she'll just buy the scraps and then tan it herself and go through the process kind of not from scratch, but as close to it as possible. So for one tanned leather, how many scraps would she need to buy?
For one tanned leather, you need either, let's see.
Is that 30 scraps? Because the values...
It's 20 scraps.
20 scraps.
So it's 20 scraps to make one hide, and then one hide to turn into a tan leather.
Oh, okay.
And the scraps into a hide will take you 2 hours with a check with a DC of 4. So,
okay.
But then tanning it is going to take 16 hours, which is given that it is normally done over 2-hour intervals, usually during a traveling day or something. It's 8 checks, but given that you have complete and utter free downtime where you could dedicate 8 hours a day to it, you could do it in 2 days, but you were basically doing that for 2 days.
Dedicated. Okay. I mean, yeah, she has to start it now. She wants to be ready to go by the time this is over. So yeah, that sounds like what she's going to do.
Okay.
So she needs the scraps of leather, 20 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And also the buckle, if I am reading this correctly.
I believe there's a buckle involved.
Yes. It says for the boots, the tier 2, it's 1 tan leather and 1 buckle. But the buckle, I think you just buy or make, I suppose.
It could be made. It's a smithing thing.
That she does not know
it's
how to do.
4 metal scraps.
Ah, okay.
Sorry, that's a bucket. Oops.
Close enough.
Yeah, you can see how I might have made that mistake.
Yeah.
There they are. It's basically 1 metal scrap for 1 buckle.
Oh, okay, pretty cheap though.
Very easy to do. Okay. I would even allow you to just sort of slide in the fact that Titan could make you one, as long as we subtract 1 metal scrap from whatever your the complete item list of goodies you guys have is.
Okay, if there's room for it, sure. If not, she'll spend money for the buckle.
I mean, I think. Oh, well, so I mean, you could choose to do that. I think the party could spare 1 metal scrap, but that's up to the party to decide. Otherwise, buying a single buckle is going to cost you 5 bits, so half a silver.
Okay.
The only metal scraps we have are gold, but you could totally use a gold buckle.
Golden.
You could.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool, and it is a gift, so.
I mean, we have 30 of them.
Yeah.
It only takes 1.
Yep. Again, for what it's worth, you guys have a bunch of armor that Titan's going to be breaking down. over the course of the days, which will break down into ingots, which can be then an ingot can be broken down into scraps. One ingot counts for 20 metal scraps.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, could be done. So ultimately, between either you, Zhao, or the party, as to how you want to go about it, it's fairly minor to get one of these. For cost, like I said, it's a half a silver for one buckle.
Right. Yeah. I'm just worried that like if I use that one scrap of it, it's gonna be like, oh, we needed that one scrap for the for whatever we're making. So it's like, um, uh, I guess I mean yeah, it's up to the party. I don't know.
They exist to be used. Use them.
Mm-hmm. Or just spit up the 5 bits and buy the buckle. Takes out at least some of the backwards math needing to be done for the armor into ingots into metal scraps.
That's true, huh? Yeah, let's avoid some headaches. I don't mind. I mean, Corona's got a little bit of money to spare, so she could do that. We'll pay out of pocket for it.
Yeah, like I said, 5 bits, so half a silver piece.
Yep. And then it was 20 scraps of leather, which is three bits per.
Yeah, 3 bits per bit. So 3 bits per hide scrap.
Per scrap.
Yeah,
right.
So it's going to be 60 bits, which would be 6 silver in total.
Okay. Grand total for that and the belt or the buckle? No, because it'd be
6.5. Yeah.
6.5. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're not dodging that decimal no matter how hard you try.
No, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to. It's just okay. So let's do -7 and add 5 copper. I think that is how math works.
Yes.
/bits. Okay. There we go. Okay. So now she's got her stuff, her material, probably pretty heavy, but she's going in as empty-handed as she can so she can carry it. And she's gonna get working. She's I suppose if there's space where the tents are, where her parents are, she'll work close to there. If not, she'll work as close as she can without being in the way. She just wants to make sure that they're okay.
All right. Well, I guess 2 things to consider. You can do at least. I would recommend you could do the first half of the work of working the scraps into a single hide within the refugee side of the camp. But the tanning you probably want to take up north towards where the craftsmen's are, because
that makes sense.
Tanning reeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't want that where everyone else is trying to
sleep,
live.
Eat.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
It might give the food some taste.
Oh, not for the better. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do that then. Yeah, because it's gonna take some time anyway to construct it all into hides. So yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
And I forget how much time it takes, but it sounds like a lot. So
it's just the scraps into the hide is 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
And a single check of DC 4.
Okay.
Which why don't you make that right now?
Sure. That'd be with leatherworkers tools. What stat would that use?
That is if you're proficient with leatherworkers tools, proficiency bonus plus dexterity modifier.
Oh, dexterity. Nice. Okay.
Which that's a short of a natural 1. You are not failing this.
Exactly. Yeah.
And even in that instance, you still wouldn't fail. After 2 hours time, you will have your nice work together single piece of hide, and then it will take 16 hours to tan your leather.
Okay.
Which will be 2 checks over the course of the next 2 days.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you want me to make those right now or as we move along. But
You know what? Let's just get it out of the way. Let's just get it because
Okay.
that's what Corona's committing to.
that's her
And
focus.
yeah, and if for some odd reason something happens and Corona doesn't, we can nix one
We
of
can always
the
move back.
roles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
just make them both. The DC
Okay.
is slightly higher at a whopping 6.
Okay. Still leatherworking.
Yep. Dex.
Dex. Boom and
Easy
cool.
peasy.
Nice. Okay.
It's like you're a natural.
It's like she knows what she's doing with them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm sure Titan might have some notes for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Given that he too is a consummate professional in leatherworking, although don't ask why. Which, for what it's worth, that is a little side note. If you go look up his inventor subclass in the guide, he gets leatherworking proficiency, and in parentheses it goes, "Don't ask," or it's best not to think about it too much.
Okay. Well, now he's an expert too in all of them. Yeah.
Yep.
That's why. Yeah. But yeah,
okay, so that's what Corona's committing to.
Absolutely. She'll be around the camp, but that's what she's doing.
Yeah, for today at least. You could start working like piecemeal on the tanning later if you'd like. Otherwise, you could just spend 2 hours getting the hide ready, and then be ready tomorrow to work an 8-hour day, basically, to start working it. That's up to you.
Yeah, I think she probably actually will do that. She'll work the hides for 2 hours and then find something else to do, kind of relax a little bit, and then tomorrow, like you said, start on the 8 hours.
Okay. Real quick, a question I've been meaning to ask. Hey, Roswin.
Yeah?
Where's that training sword at?
Roz carries it always.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. I heard a thing you said earlier, and it made me go, uh-oh, out loud.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
I do.
So, Corona does your leather. You do your leather working. From there, well, where do you want to go? Perhaps spend the rest of your day, or would you rather we go see what Lilith gets into, or what Roz gets into first?
This is still the first day, so
second day since you've been back. First day of actual free time,
downtime.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Like I said, she'll be making the rounds if people need help with stuff. She's not doing anything in particular. She might go into the tavern at some point just to check it out and maybe grab like something nice for her folks to eat for a change. Taking a book out of or a page out of Melody's book. But yeah, nothing too special. Just wandering around.
Yeah, fair. Okay. Yeah, let's leave you there in limbo briefly. Let's see where the other two end up at. So I know Lilith, you're doing some poison work. Roz, where did you decide you were going to go off to?
Well, while Lilith was making poisons,
Uh-huh.
Roz doesn't really have much plan for anything to do. So I think she's going to go watch the other more professional mercenaries train to try to get some better understanding of their tactics as professionals.
You don't say.
Don't you worry. See, the White Cross are they're professionals, right? They're very good. They're very disciplined.
Yep.
But the tyrants, they were making a ruckus, and they clearly have abilities that Roswin wants to learn. So it's definitely not a bad idea in the least. She would love to go see the tyrants train.
Well, doesn't that just work out? Hey, Lilith. Do you know what you're doing poison wise?
Yes, I have it all pulled up.
Yeah.
She is going to attempt to make a simple injury poison using the 2 common poisonous reagents that we got during our harvesting. It takes 2 hours, has 1 check, and is a DC 14.
Okay.
It is a poisoner's kit check with intelligence or wisdom, which obviously intelligence.
Intelligence, yeah.
That being said, this is not an alchemy check, so I
It is
don't
not.
have advantage on it.
Correct.
But
Bellathor
I
is
assume
less about taking lives. But he's still good at processing things.
Yeah. She's really interested in these poisonous plants and
Mm-hmm.
what they can be made into right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I will make that roll.
Yeah. DC 14. Bit more challenging than working some hide scraps into one piece of hide, but I think you'll be fine.
Just barely rolled an 8 on the dice, which ties
Woo.
the DC 14.
Not even close.
It's her first time.
Yeah. So, in 2 hours' time, you will successfully produce a simple injury poison.
Yes. She will tuck that away for later
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and pack up all of her things. And perhaps a couple hours after Roz, she is also making her way towards the other mercenary camp, geared up. She's got her longbow and quiver. She's got her armor on.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to, not look like she's just some schlub.
Of course, because people walk around in their armor all the time. Speaking of which, Roz, what are you just in casual attire, or are you a weirdo walking around in your armor with all of your
I assume
weapons?
it's fairly well known that violence within the camp is not permitted.
Correct.
Then no, Roz is wearing her casual gear. The only protection she has is her sword.
Okay. So no other weapons, just the sword to speak of?
Just the sword. Everything else is back at camp.
Okay. All right. Well, people are busy crafting their brains out, as a matter of fact. Again, Titan just vanished off somewhere with all of your supplies in a small hand cart, and went to go rent a forge, and it's just plinking away at all that work. One mind, one goal. Who knows what Audie's up to? The crazy girl. However, everyone else, working leather, working plants, making poisons, normal day. However, you, Roz, you head from the refugee side of the camp, the Lyra side of the camp. You cross through the threshold, where there's always constant traffic going to and fro due to just all the, necessary, amenities here. And you head to the Connell side of the camp, where the bannered mercenary companies are. And you walk down the central lane, off to the left and right side, the various pickets that separate the various sizes of mercenaries here and their companies. And you spy, not too far from where you enter, closer to the center, the banner of silver and black and white with the fanged skull and the sword through it. And even before you got onto the lane, you heard sounds of combat. Much like before, there is a ferocious fight currently going on. Are you just kind of like going to walk up next to the fence and just kind of, like a young kid watching adults play baseball, just kind of stare at them?
As if it were a joust at the Renaissance Festival, yes.
Fair. Yeah, you go over, and currently engaged in fierce combat. You see this individual that is notably, both of them are not wearing any armor of any kind, but they are fighting with very real weapons. One of which is a Doreen, highly colored in yellows, with accents of red and orange and white. And they have these set of their wings, but they appear quite magical in nature, and they appear to be almost made from like broken stained glass. They're very nimble and agile, They're fighting with this curved halberd, and their opponent is another very interesting individual, given that they are also very brightly colored. They have this vibrant ocean blue skin with these long rows of spines that are pink and yellow, with these very sharp pointed spines every 4 or 5 inches. These ribs. That's not what I want. What do I want? Ridges that travel that start at the tops of her shoulders and kind of go down and wrap around the back. And you could tell, just even being within close proximity of this person would probably not be a good idea. She fights very ferociously, barehanded, and is likewise just as quick and capable of jumping very high. And just between the height of this person's jumping ability and this angelic Doreen's flight, they are competing on a level that is quite literally elevated above anything you could have ever imagined, and they're doing so at such a pace that you can't really quite keep up with all of their movements. You can just kind of see the altercations where they clash. And just like before, this training ground in the Tyrants camp is what makes up most of it. Their respective tents are kind of built up around the outside, but this huge central part of their camp is just completely cleared and ringed off, just kind of with basic stones to just denote their training ground. And around it, there are a couple of crates, of which what looks like a good remainder of the Tyrants are either sitting on, watching. You can see there's 3 of them off to the side, kind of, talking to one another. One's currently clapping and jeering one of the fighters. And as before, when you casually walked by with your friends, on one of these, long crates that's been turned onto its side, this absolute lioness of an elf, Tatiana, she has one of her legs currently kicked up. She is, like everyone else, not wearing any armor, but from the waist down, she's still wearing her greaves and her shin guards. And next to her crate is just this absolutely humongous great sword. It looks like she probably stole it from a giant. And she's sitting there watching huge, long, just wild, blood-colored hair. Kind of very similar to like the length at which Lilith keeps her hair at. But between her and Lilith, her stature is the exact opposite. She's about 6'6", very unusual for an elf, and heavily muscular. But likewise, you can see, given that again from the waist up, she's just wearing very common like a very common cotton tank top. Her bare arms are exposed, and she's just absolutely littered in scars. While the fight's going on, and you're kind of engrossed in just watching them and taking stock of all the Tyrants here, and sort of, again, kind of wild nature in which they fight with, there is only a moment where you're kind of trying to follow their movements, trying to challenge yourself to keep up with that pace, where you don't realize it, but you do in the moment that it happens, where following them, your eyes cross and they meet with Tatiana. And then you realize she's watching you.
For the briefest second, I think Roz kind of shrinks back in surprise, like, "Oh, why are you paying attention to me?" But in the next second, it's let's project confidence. Let's lean further into the fence. Let's give her a smile. Why not?
Right as you lean in, when your attention had shifted away from the fight into Tatiana briefly, is when the spar very loudly comes to a conclusion. And you see, after the dust kind of settles, that the halberd wearing, wielding Doreen has the blade pressed up against the neck of the the merfolk, and it's just kind of holding it there, and not even just kind of like at a you've lost the match. They're pressing. You see a slight trickle of blood, of purple blood from where there's a wound that's been cut, and then eventually you see Tatiana just kind of raise a hand, and they step back, and the Doreen helps the other one up, and then playfully shoves them out of the ring, where they get caught by that group of 3 that was watching. And then wordlessly, Tatiana returns her attention to you, and then with just one finger, beckons you over.
Oh no. Again, a moment of shock, and then very quickly moving to her command, because this does not seem like the woman that you do anything but what she wants when she asks.
Fair. You step beyond the threshold of the picket, officially into the tyrant's camp. And that is when you notice pretty much all of the other tyrants look at you as you enter.
Oh boy.
And it is as much pressure as you can imagine it is. They are sizing you up simultaneously. They are judging your worth as a person, as a warrior, the amount of threat that you pose. And in that several heartbeats walking into the camp where you feel everyone's gaze lock onto you for that moment, it ends just as quickly. And they return back to, ribbing and jibing the 2 fighters on the other side of the ring, having seemingly decided your worth and that it was not worth their attention.
I think in that brief span of maybe 3 seconds was the smallest Roz has ever felt in her life. But she's still coming in, because she was told to.
Eventually, you arrive to where Tatiana's still kind of lounging on the crate. Eventually, she'll swing the other leg down and turn to regard you, just her legs hanging off of the edge. Very, very nonchalant, very casual. But when you're actually this close and you look at her, you notice that her eyes are distinctly not normal. And that her eyes are 2 slash marks that look like her irises look like stars instead. Just these dark slash marks surrounded by the unusual shift of purple and red and orange in her eye color. Well, look at you. I was going to come find you later, and you walked right into my camp instead.
Can I help you with something, my lady?
So formal. I'll get to the point. And she steps off of the crate, standing up. You see her roll her shoulders. Hear a couple of bones pop and crack. And then with one hand, she just reaches forward with a single finger and pushes on the sword at your side. That is not yours.
It was a gift given to me just a few... It was given to me right before my home was lost, my lady.
A gift? Was it won through combat?
I did not win it through combat. No, the person who gave it to me, I don't know. I didn't have time to ask.
Then I say again, that sword is not yours. Do you know anything about it? Or do you just carry it at your side?
I don't know anything about it, no, ma'am.
just like short-lived races, to have no appreciation of history. Do you know anything about me?
A little. Not enough to say that I. Not enough, my lady.
My mother was a member of Dead Company, an immortal warrior that had lived, for an amount of time none of us could possibly fathom. They belonged to the previous god of war. Soldiers that went to every battlefield around the world for the sake of the fight. The sword on your hip. That sword is a training sword that they used. It is a relic and a weapon of Dead Companies is never given, it is earned.
Then, with respect, how do I earn it?
The ritual usually comes down to defeating the warrior who had it previously and killing them. And it is on their death that they grant its ownership to you. Now, you have to understand, the gesture was different for members of Dead Company, given that this is only a training sword. Members of Dead Company cannot die. In the prime of their time, they were immortal. If they were slain, they would rise again. So the answer is, find the person who it belonged to, kill them, and then take it. But you can see how that doesn't really work anymore.
Uh-huh.
Thus my conundrum.
I'm starting to see that I'm in a little bit of danger, aren't I?
That is a very polite way of putting it. Yes.
Then what do we do about it?
I'm afraid you won't like the answer.
I'm not letting someone run me through just to claim a training sword, my lady.
She leans down, gets very close to your face. I'm sorry, are you under the assumption that you have a choice in the matter?
I'm under the assumption that I can scream very loud. I can't fight you for long. I wouldn't be able to fight anyone you send after me for long. But I don't think that killing me is worth it.
In that we both agree. Because this is not a battlefield. You're not a soldier. There's no honor or sport in killing you. Given that, well, you probably wouldn't put up much of a fight anyway. You've just admitted it yourself. So why exactly did you come here? You didn't know your life was in danger. So, humor me. Why did you come to my camp?
Your warriors made quite an impression the first time I saw them. And while I have trained with the White Cross a little bit, it, it was the tyrants that stuck to most in my memory.
So how long has it been since you've awakened?
Sorry?
How long has it been since you've become stronger than you were before? Since your wounds heal overnight? Pretty recent, given you don't understand my meaning.
Less than a week.
That sword, the training sword you carry, recognize that. Given who I am, I have a unique connection with weapons touched by dead company. And I sensed another soldier was carrying it. Have you drawn blood with that weapon yet?
The only thing that I've fought with it so far was one of the little drones.
You would do well to actually fight with that blade. Otherwise, its potential's being wasted. It'll help you realize exactly how powerful you are. The weapon isn't just meant for training in the sense that you use it in an official sparring match against someone else. It is a practice weapon in that when you use it, it helps you find the strengths and weaknesses you need to work on. And this is a reason why dead company soldiers, other than their experience, could continue working on themselves.
To be clear, then, my lady, you intend to let me keep both my life and the weapon?
She lowers herself so she is eye level with you. For now. And she stands back up. Let me put it this way. You and your greenies will be entertainment for me. I know you have the weapon. So if you were to perish with it, I can always go recover it. Or kill the poor sap that picked it up. But I would be a fool to snuff out a new light so quickly just because my mother's short temper is inherited.
A new light. You don't care about life, my lady. Be frank with me.
Very well. I always have a need for more tyrants. And if you continue to grow, there's a lot I could teach you. You just have to make sure I think it's worth it.
Well, with all due respect, my lady, one of these days, I'm either going to be a great and powerful warrior, more than worthy of being a tyrant, or I'll be dead. I assure you, I've got no intentions of being dead, and I've got a long plan for what I'm worth. to show the world that I'm worth more than being a corpse run through for a training sword.
Just make a persuasion check for me.
Oh boy. I still don't have my dice, so let's roll it in front of the board.
Digital dice gods.
It's pretty good, actually.
Damn.
Pretty good. Wow, digital dice gods coming through today.
It's a 20, not natural.
That is certainly a fire within you that I appreciate. Allow me to stoke it a little. And she reaches forward and with a finger just touches your forehead. And you suddenly feel your presence, yourself, whisked away somewhere else. And you are dropped onto a battlefield. It is gray and ashen, and there are hundreds of thousands of people around you fighting. Mountains of corpses, humanoids, monsters, even dragons. And you see amongst them these individuals in this absolutely wicked plate mail with these fanged skull helmets on. And you watch as they kill a whole swath of people and then are stabbed and maimed and crushed underneath the weight of new opponents. The attention turns onto another one of them, and as they feel like they're overwhelming the new target, you watch as the other one, crumpled and broken, gets up, rights themselves, and immediately begins attacking again. And in a complete wash, you feel as if time jumps forward and is magnified 10,000 times, and you watch as this battlefield morphs to another, to another, to another. The same continual constant are these warriors in the plate mail with the fanged helmets constantly fighting. And the sense of time you get is beyond anything that you can possibly fathom. And by the time you reach the end of it, you are stood atop a hill, overlooking a battlefield that goes beyond the horizon, and it is filled with an amount of dead you can't begin to count. And dotted amongst them are not the individuals with the fanged helmets, but are instead, with their colors shining brightly, the various members of the Tyrants. And that's when you notice next to you is Tatiana in full battle regalia, plate mail that looks very similar to the ones you saw in the knights in the previous instances. The fanged skull helmet tucked underneath an arm, her immense giant's sword still stuck into the ground next to her. This is the reward my mother's given to me after an impossible task had been given to her. This is a world of battle and blood, broken bones, and flesh, ash and fire and death. And with it, the experiences of every soldier, warrior, fighter that fought and died here. And over the course of time, to beyond what you can even imagine, to what even I can fathom. But this experience, this power, this world, and the ability to shape it and make it what we need and want to make us stronger is even beyond what the old god of war hoped to accomplish. This is what it means to be a tyrant. And suddenly you're back in the camp, bathed in a cold sweat. Tatiana's back leaning against the crate.
I think Roz is stunned. She's never even seen that many people in one place, let alone that many dead. Never been on a real battlefield before. She's at a loss for words.
And I suppose there, while Roz is gathering herself, we'll take a belated break.
Sounds good.
We'll be back in 10 minutes. See you then. And we're back. We did it. Yeah, we're coming back from a break after a run one Roz win. Went to go observe a spar at the Tatiana's Tyrant's camp, and of which she was eventually invited into the lion's den, and she voluntarily walked in. And had a very fun, interesting conversation. Yep.
Oh boy.
So how is Roz doing? Is she still like frozen in place? Did she like in a fugue state wander away? Like how's that going?
I think that before she even tries to wander away, when she collects herself, remembering battle is the life she's always wanted. And what Tatiana just showed her isn't entirely something that she has never fantasized about.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's going to look to Tatiana, steel herself, and say, I have a home to reclaim. I have an enemy to burn. I have friends and loved ones to protect and avenge. I deserve a better life, and so do they. And I'm going to prove it, and I'm going to get it, or die trying.
Make sure you come back. Visit from time to time. And if you're ever feeling ready, challenge someone for a spar. You may learn something.
Maybe I will. Until then, my lady, it's been a terrifying honor to meet you.
She gives you a smile that would normally be perceived as warm, but she has several sharper teeth than normal, and it just feels like a predator smiling at you. Feel free to come and partake of our hospitality anytime.
Roz has already steeled herself. She is not put off enough by that to freak out again. She's going to bow her head, turn and leave.
And you feel her eyes follow you all the way out. As a matter of fact, it's almost eerie to the point that you feel like you don't hear anything else in the camp up until you step back beyond the threshold into the central pathway, and then suddenly you hear the sounds of, people training, craftsmen, just the buzz of life. Like going in there was stepping into a different world.
Well, I think that despite the fact that Roz is certain of her next course of action, occurring during the upcoming mission at least, for now it's comfort-seeking behavior, so let's go get drunk.
Nailed it. Well, I'm glad to assume now, at the very least, two of your paths will cross. Since I think Corona was going to go have a meal, check out the Dusty Daisy a little, of which, remember, mercenaries get 1 free meal a day. And they get a full series of meals day after mission break.
Oh, okay. I thought it was only after mission. Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, the Seductress is 1 free service per completed mission. But the meal is it's a day's worth of free meals from basically it's 3 free meals from the time you come back after completing a mission, and then it's 1 free meal per day because mercenaries have to stay well fed and ready if they're going to go complete their missions.
Nice. Well, then she's absolutely going for sure. No question.
Which is to say, with 2 of you heading in that general direction, it's not quite midday. We're getting pretty close to noon. The Dusty Daisy is not as busy as it is other times of the day. There's less than 100 people scattered amongst all the various tables and outdoor seating, of which you can tell about half of them are segregated into different groups, where they are clearly with individuals, and then the other half is either a bunch of individuals or pairs, a lot of which do not carry any colors that would denote them from one of the mercenary companies. So you suspect these are either refugees that managed to bring money with them and can afford to pay for a meal here, or they are mercenaries pulled from the Lyra side of the camp, such as yourselves. The staff here is still in full swing. There are any number of tavern hands running food and drinks to tables, of which it is easy to observe, even for the few times you've been here. If anything more strikingly noticeable in a crowd, that the runners that they employ all tend to be teenagers, down to about 12 up to 16, 17, 18. People that are small, quick, and nimble. It seems to be the look. Of which you would probably even note that among them is somebody from your camp. One of Viren's sons, Klein, was made himself busy since getting here. Behind the bar, the long, polished wooden bar, there are still 5 bartenders readily available, preparing drinks, and occasionally stepping down a series of steps, and much in the way people would jokingly do that behind like a couch or a wall or something to look like going down an escalator, and then they'd come back up with plates of steaming hot food, assumedly where the kitchen is, which is weird, but there it is. So, what is either of yours goal? I know Roz is here to get a little tipsy, and Corona is just here for a meal.
Yeah, partial meal. And she might get a drink too, just to like cool off after work.
Okay. Well, there is a free ale included with your once a day meal.
Oh, okay. Well, then that'll do.
Okay. And I will say, because it's not overly busy, Corona's passive perception is sharp enough to pick up when Roz comes in, looking to order some liquid comfort.
Yeah, I think she'll keep an eye on her, and like whenever she's walking in, if their eyes kind of like intersect, if they like see each other, like Corona will just kind of give her a simple wave, just to let her know, hey, I'm here.
The sup head nod.
You don't get a sup head nod back. You get the eyes of someone who's just seen a ghost.
Ever seen a scared chihuahua?
Not in person.
Oh, no. They look frightened all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Hmm. Well, I think Corona's gonna note that, but she's not going to like flag Roz down just yet. She'll keep an eye on her.
Cool. Then Roz is going to get her own drink and her own meal and come to sit down with Corona.
Perfect.
So, I just met an immortal warlord who made a threat and maybe also an offer, but I'm not entirely sure. How's your day going?
Better than yours, sounds like.
Oh, it's. Oh, probably.
You in some kind of danger then, or what?
Not a lot of danger, I think. If I were in that much danger, I think I'd already be dead.
You wanna continue with your story? Because I'm not really quite getting it.
Okay. Starting from the top, right?
Mm,
Roz is gonna untie the training sword from her belt and put it up on the table between herself and Corona. Do you know what this sword is?
I've seen you carrying it around, but training sword?
Rarkin gave me this sword as a gift just before we left Greenwood. Left it on my bed. And apparently, do you know what Dead Company is or was? I don't know a lot about history.
I think I might have heard some of the people traveling through town mention them once or twice, yeah?
You can make a history check if you'd like,
Actually, yeah, I'll do that.
or a religion check even, if that matters.
History or religion?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're both int, huh? So
Yeah, the information is slightly different.
okay. 12.
I mean, yeah, much like you said, you heard occasional whispers. Although things you heard of were more of people talking about the downfall of Dead Company.
Oh,
Since in the last 80 or so years, the God of War changed,
okay.
and with the Statera being a thing, the order of cosmic, order and chaos, and a new God of Death existing, the once immortal Dead Company with their god killed, and a new God of Death, they were no longer immortal. And as such, it was only a matter of time before Dead Company perished. But their exploits are legendary in that they are considered to be amongst the most powerful, gifted warriors in known history. That several of Dead Company were members of the first creation, the Great Creation War, the war that literally started everything as the world has turned into today. They have fought dragons and giants and horrors unimaginable and come out on top and survived. They've waded through oceans of blood of their enemies and of their allies and still won. It was reported that up until the previous God of War perished, Styphic, that they were undefeated. They had never lost a fight. Although there was also a rumor tagged onto that there was apparently one mercenary leader once upon a time somewhere in a continent out west that did take them to a draw once.
Oh.
But yeah, you would just know, bunch of crazy, unkillable warriors.
Yeah.
Like,
She'll say, I heard they went under or something. Their leader dropped dead. Didn't really quite get all of it, but what about him?
Oh, uh, you remember Tatiana's tyrants, right?
Yeah.
Well, I just met Tatiana herself. Apparently, she was going to send some of her tyrants to come looking for me, and it just so happens that I wandered into her camp directly at a very convenient time for her. Um, She saw me, beckoned me forth, and in no uncertain terms made it very clear to me that this sword does not belong to me. I shouldn't have it, and that it's customary to receive this kind of sword by killing the last person who had it and taking it from them.
And that's why you feel threatened.
I feel threatened because she definitely could have killed me and probably had a lot of motive to do so. And the only reason I think that she's not doing so is because of what she called my awakening, which might make me useful to her.
Your awakening? The fact that you woke up today?
You see, I thought the same thing, but no, no. A few days ago, suddenly faster, stronger, smarter than we ever were. Confidence that we never had before. Waking up with bruises completely gone and near awful wounds turned to nothing. That's not normal. That's what she's calling our awakening.
I
I
did
think
notice that about the wounds, yeah.
I think that's all of us. But apparently, because I had this sword on me, and she has some connection to artifacts from the dead company, she knew right away that I'd awakened. And that's why I said I think she made me an offer. I'm not entirely positive, but I did get one takeaway from going there.
And that is.
I need to kill using this sword. Not a drone like I did back in Greenwood. Something alive.
Something specific?
I don't think so. Just something with blood, I think.
Are you sure you're not being possessed by something now?
I don't know. Flirt at me. We'll see.
Flirt at you.
There's only one way to know if it's me for certain, and it's to see how quickly I get embarrassed.
Uh, I think Corona's going to like interrupt you and like reach over to like pinch your cheek real hard. Like
Oh, that was a
real
joke.
hard.
I didn't really mean to do it.
You felt that, right? So you're probably not possessed then.
I'm not possessed. No.
The hell? So you want to kill something with blood for this sword for what purpose exactly though?
Apparently, the sword, when I say it's a training sword, it's, I mean, it's magic. It can help me learn to be a better warrior.
That's some messed up logic. Training will help you become a better warrior.
A- And and I agree with that, but we're in the middle of a war. People are dying. Our our friends from back in Greenwood, our neighbors, have been. We're not even certain yet if they're captured or killed or what. We can use every edge we can get, can't we?
But look, I'm not saying don't use the sword. I'm just saying get your priorities straight. If you have to use the sword to protect yourself, well, you're going to use it. But I'd say use it to defend yourself or do whatever you got to do. Don't go on a mission to kill stuff just for the sake of the weapon, though.
I'm not, but we're going on a mission in a few days, right? And we're probably, there's a chance we'll be fighting drones or whatever, but we might be fighting something alive. And I could either hit it with my axe or I could hit it with my sword. And right now I feel a bit more inclined to see what the sword has to offer.
That's fair enough.
gonna go murder someone. Who do you take me for?
I'm not saying you're gonna go murder someone. I'm just saying if you get tunnel vision and just use your sword when you could be using other things, you're gonna get yourself killed just as easily.
It's not that much worse than my axe. It's
I'm
probably
not.
better. It's magic.
I mean, it looks fancy, I suppose. She's kind of like just looking at it, but I mean, I don't know a thing about magic weapons anyway. Look, all I'm saying is keep your head on straight. I get that you want to train to become better, because trust me, I do too. I'm probably, well, you know what? I'm not going to make this pissing contest. I'll just say that I'm probably as angry as you are about the whole Greenwood thing. But I try to not get it to my head. Let it go to my head, rather.
Be honest with me for a moment. If you had an opportunity to fast track yourself to becoming the best warrior you could be, to fight back against an insurmountable enemy who's got all sorts of advantages on you, if you had that opportunity, would you take it?
She takes a couple of seconds to really think on it. Her eyes narrow a bit, and she kind of looks down at the weapon in front of her, looks off to the side, and then says, I'd probably heavily consider it. At least. I don't know if I'd take it, though. It depends, I guess, if there's catches or not.
There probably would be if I took the offer from Tatiana, which is why I didn't immediately get down on my knees and swear fealty to giant lady. You didn't hear that part. I'm just gonna eat my food and drink now.
This, I think Crota's like, she's like, she's gonna be like, listen, and then she just kind of laughs like I did, chuckles it off to the side as she sees your reaction, and she says, "You're a, you're a funny one. I get, I get what you're saying, and I think you made a right decision right now. We don't know enough about what's going on anyway. So even if you had a weapon that could make you invincible and the greatest warrior alive, we wouldn't even know what to use it on, really. We have an idea, but we still don't know. And I don't know. I feel like we're probably gonna be getting into some stuff that's gonna feel like it's way over our head, regardless of what gear we're packing. So don't rely on don't rely on just your weapon. Try and better yourself too, however you can.
Oh, I will. And for common sense, that's why I got you, pointing a little fork at you.
Oh, I'm not sure if I'm the best example of that. You'd probably want Titan.
Well, I will try to be my own best source of common sense. But in the meantime, that's why I've got friends.
True. We got your back.
Oh.
Now, you coming in for your first meal, or?
Of the day.
Yeah. I'm thinking I'm probably gonna bring most of the rest of this back to my folks, but I'll sit here. Wait till you're done. I don't mind the company anyway. Not like I
Oh,
had
you
any
can
real
watch me eat.
business here.
That's not awkward at all, seeing a child that I threatened a few days ago. Just not gonna think about that. I'm gonna eat.
Go for it. She just chuckles, shaking her head. Like this damn kid.
um, side note, Corona, you're the first to notice the commotion, but Roswin, you followed up not too long after. From somewhere on the east side of the camp, where the teleportation gate is, there's a bit of a sound of commotion. Again, you guys are quite a distance away. You don't really know what's happening, but you do hear there's a bit of a buzz coming from the eastern side of the camp.
Do you want to go?
I mean, if you're not gonna finish your food, I got nothing better to do.
Roz is going to pick up whatever she can of what remains of the food and go. She runs out of the building to go see what's up.
Chrono will leave her plate where it is. She'll come back for it if she needs to.
Yep.
Flash can.
Yep. You feel like someone in the Dusty Daisy has paid attention to the person who left their plate and the person who took theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Dusty Daisy will remember this.
I'll get their plate back.
So, like an anime girl with a piece of toast in her mouth, you run away. And take the arduous path around the camp to head towards the east side, where you can tell there's been a couple of people. You could sort of see like the ripple effect coming from the east side of the camp as quickly words of rumors have already kind of spread. As you're going by the various craftsmen, you can tell that apparently people came back from a mission, but there was someone that was hurt. And the degree of how hurt they were seems to change with every other handful of people you pass by. By the time you arrive, you can see that the large part of whatever crowd was there has begun to disperse. And there is a group of clerics, of which you've really not seen a whole lot of from the Orphan's Refuge. You were greeted by one of these clerics that brought you into the camp when you first got here. That there are two of them that are carrying an individual on a stretcher. And another one walking next to them. And if it wasn't for the person walking next to them, you probably wouldn't realize that the individuals that are of causing all the excitement are two people that you know. It is both Viren and Jace.
Ah, I knew it.
Viren is the one that's upright and walking. Jace is the one on the stretcher. So do you do anything? Or are you just going to go back to finish your meal?
No. Does Roz want to go first, or?
I think that Roz has had a hard day already and is a little stunned, but if Corona does nothing, yeah, she will go.
Yeah, I'm just asking because you technically left first, so you probably get there first as well.
True.
I'm offering because we had a lot of Roz focus for a second there.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Sure. So it's Jace that's in the stretcher, you said?
Yep.
Okay. She Corona is once she catches up, she's going to see this, and I guess she's going to start asking. Oh, actually, we knew that they left for the wolf mission,
the
correct?
the saber wolves mission. Yep.
The saber wolf. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's gonna start asking, what happened. You guys, just checking to make sure that they came back from the saber wolf mission and all that.
So yeah, when you close in, first you notice like the Jace is on the stretcher. He is perfectly conscious and aware.
Oh, okay.
But you can tell that his whole right side, bits of his armor and like his travel gear have been completely slashed, and he's already had a bunch of like emergency medicine done to him. He's bandaged heavily, and you could tell they're probably going to take care of the rest. But he's awake, and you could tell he's just sort of talking off to the side to Viren after the crowd of people kind of came in.
Oh, okay. I completely misjudged how this
Nope,
scene was.
he's
looking.
alive.
Okay. Yeah,
Just-
she'll approach with Roz, and Krona's just gonna ask, "What the hell happened to you guys?"
Oh, girls, hey, well, Viren and I went out to go do some wolf hunting, and it was going fine for the first day and a half. And, well, basically, when we had killed enough of them, we kept advancing, we started to get closer to where we thought the nest was, where the den was, and the alpha of the pack got the drop on me, and he just sort of gestures to the leg with the bloody bandages. I got cut up pretty bad. Viren's fine though. He's sulking because I got hurt. You're not going to be able to walk on that for a while, Jace. This isn't something to joke about. That was too damn serious.
Well, they sure did a number on you, but at least you're alive.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. We had to limp away. Krona, he's like about to continue, and you notice actually off to the side there are 2 saber wolf corpses on the teleportation dais. He's like, yeah, we had to rip our tag to get ourselves out of there. We managed to limp our way back to where we got dropped in, but the wolves knew one of us was hurt. The alpha was pretty damn smart for an animal, and it chased us down. And we got there, ripped out the tag, and dropped out, spilled onto the dais with a couple of the wolves that the gate warden dealt with. Don't mess with the gate warden, by the way. Yeah, so I guess just our arrival and people shouting for, a cleric or a medic probably brought in a bit more attention than was necessary. I'll live. Just might be in bed for a couple of weeks. If I'm lucky. But you all are back already? Huh? We left at the same time. How did your mission go? And you guys are basically following him as the clerics are, carting him along.
Mm-hmm. Don't know if Roz wants to chime in.
Complete success. That looks bad. I'm not going to focus on it. You shouldn't focus on it either. It's bad though. Completely successful.
Mm-hmm.
We fought bandits. Nobody got hurt. I think everyone seems fine anyway. Wow, that's bad.
It's just Kate.
Roz, I'm fine. Not the first time I've been hurt like this. Like I said, I just gotta rest for a couple of weeks and I'll be okay. So bandits, huh?
Yeah, a good handful of them.
Whole team of them, about a dozen.
Luckily, we had some help.
You all came back unscathed?
Well, yeah, relatively. We went prepared. We had some potions on hand, and the doc's with us.
Hmm. Well, you all make me look like an amateur then. Getting chewed on by a couple of wolves. You over there fighting bandits, killing bandits?
Yeah. Came down to that.
Yeah, that ain't no easy work.
Nah, but we had help, like I said. We recruited someone who's got a vendetta against them bandits. And so she made it a little bit easier, for sure.
All right.
But yeah,
Well, I'm glad to hear you all returned fine.
it worked out. I think Krona looks to Roz. We were thinking about taking on that wolf mission next, weren't we? Or at least it was an option in the air.
Which assumes. Did you learn anything interesting while you were there fighting them wolves?
Yeah, I mean, we got a couple of things, but Viren's the hunter. I'll let him do the talking on it. He kind of looks over at Viren, gives him a wink. If you insist. Yeah, the saber wolves were agitated when we got there. The reason why they were being a problem for the local farmers, they were being overly aggressive, fighting recklessly, not always using their normal pack tactics or reliance on numbers, which was quite unusual given that they're fairly intelligent beasts. But because they were fighting so erratically, we were able to lay several traps and pick them off one by one pretty safely. We didn't have any direct altercations until this last day, where we managed to follow back a lot of their tracks towards where we suspect their den was, and we found that they weren't using the den, even though it had showed signs of having previously been their habitation point. As we mentioned, as Jace said, we were ambushed by their alpha, a much bigger wolf. It's got a scaly hide, seemed fairly tough, scarred up, and won a lot of territorial fights, I'm assuming. It literally gave us a run for our lives. But the thing that is most unusual, the most of the other saber wolves, or like I said, were acting erratically. The alpha was acting as expected. It was powerful. It was cunning. But because the other saber wolves weren't working in tandem with it, is likely the reason why we survived. But we think that whatever is in the den, why we ran into them before we really got a better chance to scout it out, is because something else is in it. There was something off about it. I don't know a good way to describe it. You ever take a walk out at night and just kind of get chills on the back of your neck, like something's
Sure.
watching you? Yeah. That was what I was feeling when I was there. Couldn't see into the den. It was in this recessed cave on the side of a grassy hill. I couldn't see anything inside, but I had a feeling something was watching us, and I think it was in that moment where I was stuck on it that we got ambushed. Which is the reason why I'm beating myself up so much. And he jabs Jace in the shoulder.
Well, look, you two made it out. That's honestly what counts most. And since you made it back, if we do decide to go and take that mission, we can get some payback. Hey, Roz?
Of course. Get a few hides for you as a souvenir.
Oh, we brought some of those back.
Yeah, but come on, you could have the alphas. Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, I'm sure it would make a fine set of armor. If anything, we didn't have enough time or the tools really to pop the sabers off their skulls, but they could make a fair share of daggers with those. But really, if you are considering that, bring a warding talisman or something. Especially if you're going to go figure out why the saber wolves have left their den. It's just something not right.
Right. I'll take your word for it. You get some rest, all right? We'll figure out how to do this.
You need anything, just ask.
Well, me personally, I'm not gonna be able to get up anytime soon. But if y'all could bring me something from the tavern and a stiff drink, I think that would be swell.
We could carry your stretcher to the brothel. That might help.
I don't think the clerics are gonna like that very much. At least until they clean me up some.
All right, but after?
Let me get a meal in my stomach first, and then I'll think about it.
It's mostly a joke, but we will help if you need.
I feel like I'm not close enough to either of you for that kind of help.
All right, well, then we bring you to the door and then toss you inside.
I see the mission's done a lot for your confidence. That's nice.
I've had an awful day. Not as bad as your day, though.
How about yeah? Would you like to trade?
God. Physical injury is so much easier to deal with. I almost might trade.
What does that even mean?
Nothing you need to be concerned about. Have a nice rest.
What are you holding on some sort of secret? You want to pass it along? I would love to not be bedridden for the next couple of weeks.
Bye! Waving as the clerics continue to take him away.
Yep. Well then. You part ways with Jason Viren. Viren will give you a wave as they promptly head to the southern side of the camp where the orphans' refuge clerics and clergy are arranged. Let's quickly cut over to where Lilith is. You poison. It should be done.
Wow.
Yeah, look at it. It's in that fancy glass vial.
She tucks it away with a label.
Wise. Yeah, don't put it next to the potions.
She has like a knot tied around it, so she knows when she reaches into her bag if she ever needs to reach in to grab a potion, but she doesn't grab the poison and quickly drink it.
Wise. Yeah.
Yeah, just to be safe. That being said, once her work is done, she'll pack up and she's gonna head over to where the White Cross company is set up.
Okay.
She is.
You still all dressed all to present?
Yep.
Okay.
She is looking to have a conversation with Bandit.
All right. You can get there. The White Cross Company camp is the largest section of the mercenary camps, due to the fact that they have well over 100 mercenaries in their company that are here currently. They are still out there in the open field. Several members of the company training themselves. Several other members training the refugee mercenaries that have come over looking for help. And you find kind of at that long stretch right next to the firing range, Bandit has himself sat up in a little foldable camping chair. He's currently just sitting there sipping from a wood mug.
She'll glance around, make sure she's not getting in the middle of anything, and casually make her way over. Stand like a couple feet away from him. Good afternoon, Bandit.
Hello, Lilith. How are you?
Good. Yourself?
I'm fine. I am just taking a break after instructing for a few hours.
You mind if we have a quick chat?
He looks past you. We? I don't see any of your other friends here.
Me, well, we is me and you.
Since you've included me in the we, I feel obliged to agree.
Right. I spoke to Covert, and I have a particular question. He pointed me towards two people, but you are by far the less intimidating one, so I'm hoping you might be able to help.
All right, I'm listening. And he pulls from a crate nearby, he pulls out another foldable camping chair, and with one hand just kind of like whips it open and then sets it beside him. And he just
She'll
pats
take a
it.
seat. So I have this amulet,
I see that.
and best as I've been able to tell, it's infused with the power of death.
That would make it extremely valuable. And extremely dangerous.
Yeah, Covert seemed to be of the mind that maybe you'd be able to tell me more about it, possibly. Seeing that you kind of toe that line, I suppose.
I did have a unique relationship with the gods of death. Would you mind allowing me to see it?
Yeah, sure. And she'll hold it out.
And he will very carefully take it into his three-fingered hand, and then between two fingers, kind of hold it up in front of his eyes to inspect it. This is certainly interesting. Do you know the language this is written in?
I'm assuming that's a no.
That is a no.
No, I know quite a few languages, but they're none of the ones I speak or read.
Yes, because it is what one would consider, pun not intended, a dead language. One that is not meant for mortals such as you and I to speak. It is a language of divinity. One that is spoken only in context of understanding its usage in creation. This language in particular is referred to as Imperin, the divine language of gods in creation.
What? Okay. That seems like it's a big deal.
Yes, for the reason that that language, even knowing a single word of it, could produce an instantaneous effect from nothing. Technically, it would draw on the residual energy that exists nearby. It would, for instance, if the word for Imperin for water was spoken, it would reach into the area surrounding it to draw energy from it to then create from nothing water. If there is water nearby, it will draw from that and share and will be easier and less costly. But if there is none, it will draw from anything to create it, including living beings such as you and me. So that's why you can understand this level of divinity could be, this language could be used inappropriately. in context for the way this is made, for the energy that it houses, is that it would draw to it other such forms of energy. Have you perhaps been experiencing hearing voices when there's no one around, or seeing figures that are there one time and then gone the next, like seeing a ghost?
Yeah, I've had that happen over the last few years since coming into contact with this.
Yeah.
I've also more recently gotten acquainted with a few ghosts.
In your head, you hear Callista go, "I like this one. He's very smart." And then Bandit looks at you with a kind of like this, just like this big, upturned, eyebrow. Are you implying that you have ghosts anchored to you via this?
Yes.
Interesting. And worrying. Lilith, do you understand the transition that occurred several decades ago? The reason why the dead cannot be brought back to life?
I know the gist of it from what is taught.
The shortened version is the gods of death, the hunters, Lyra and Connell, for which this camp is named. They were broken in the terms of divinity. That would be a way we would understand it, as having been killed. Their form could not be recorporated, and as such, their power over their domain of death was shattered. But the being in which they were made from, now the shepherd of souls, Junardin, is the one that oversees the boundary between this mortal plane of existence and the thereafter, when we die and our souls, our physical energy, our spiritual energy separates from our physical bodies. The thing that is most important to understand, Lilith, is that this artifact was made prior to Junardin's re-seizing of control, and during the time of the hunters. But given the use of the language, probably several thousand years ago, maybe even tens of thousands of years ago, with a purpose that I am not quite certain without knowing who made it. The point is, I need to caution you. I understand this might be very precious to you, and you have now 2, 3, 4, and he's like trying to... 2 charges that are under your care. But this is breaking a new cosmic law. And as of right now, because you've only drawn to it 2 souls, if you begin to draw more, you might be noticed by something that you might not want to be noticed by. As in, something will come to attempt to fix the abnormality in the cosmic law.
She kind of looks down, thinking for a long moment, nodding. I take it that probably wouldn't end well for my companions.
They would move on from this plane of existence into the next, as they should have upon death. But generally speaking, when a soul lingers, now that they can no longer be placed back into their physical forms, there is usually something that must be resolved with their existence previously here. During my time, during my prime, as a mercenary, when I earned the title that I have now, this phenomenon allowed me to save many lives. The regrets of those who were dying in a means in which they did not wish to. It was very easy to then bring their souls back to their forms. Now, however, if the souls refuse to pass beyond, and sometimes it is not within their own cognizance to release, they must have some sort of epiphany, realization, closure, before they are allowed to go beyond into the next plane.
I think I understand. I also assume that whatever would come to make things right would not treat me kindly.
He takes a sip from his mug. Honestly, I don't think it would feel about you one way or the other. I think what would be sent would probably act in the ways of the old Wolf Connell did when the hunters had to go seek out lost souls, or those purposely trying to skirt their laws, in that it would find the souls in question and attempt to take them. When it would find it anchored to the relic, it would attempt to either break or take the relic and then go beyond with it to then ferry the souls to their next destination. Now, if the relic is tied to you as well, it might require your death in order for it to fulfill its purpose. But I don't believe it would do so with any particular malice, and that the forces as they are now are much more black and white. They are... The gods, as we once understood them, have changed quite a lot, and the ones that are responsible for maintaining the world to a certain degree as we understand it now feel neither this way or that, and that they don't bother themselves with much the way mortals do, and much the way the old title bearers, who were all mortal, once did. It was part of this new transition that we have faced. I'm sorry, I was rambling there for a time. Have I answered your question?
I think so. It definitely answers a few things and brings up a lot more questions. You understand what this language is, but I'm assuming based on your description of it that you don't actually know what it says.
No, only in the fact that this language is not normally capable of being spoken by mortal kind. And those that are capable of it wield it to devastating effect. Not necessarily good or bad, just in that there is much power in these words. I do not know what these words are. You would have to likely find a scholar that specializes in these, or perhaps a being that has lived long enough to hear those words spoken by divine beings. Perhaps an ancient dragon, if you were to head south.
That's a terrifying concept.
Yes, but the red witches, the dragon mothers that head them are, well, ancient and very knowledgeable in such of these things. Not that I am suggesting you make that journey, given that it would, well, take you away from friend and family.
Something tells me I haven't quite reached the point where I'm important enough to be seen by somebody like that.
While I can't speak to your reputation, I think you underestimate the value of this artifact, he says as he hands it back to you.
She'll put it back around her neck.
You would do well to not talk to too many people about this, given that there are still some of the old ways that believe this would be a breaking of a specific law, and those more that would seek to take advantage of it, given that you have successfully anchored souls to it.
Well, Covert gave me your name. He also gave me Tatiana's name. But I'm starting to think that maybe his warnings were right and that I probably shouldn't show her this.
You said her name, and he, sipping from his cup, he just slowly nodded a few times as of suspecting. I would not suggest going to see her about this unless you are of dire need of that information. If no one's life is dependent on it, I wouldn't share that just yet. If only because by doing so, it might endanger yours.
Okay. Well, I was hoping to learn a bit more about what it can do, but I suppose maybe I shouldn't go poking at things like this without learning a bit more first. And so far, it's all just kind of happened naturally.
Bandit strokes his chin a few times. When I speak to the left commander, I will inquire of them if they happen to know someone who might be able to help you at least translate this. And by doing so, we will keep it discreet. If that is what you would like.
I would, and I greatly appreciate you lending a hand with this.
Well, I can't feign my own interest in it. Given how old this appears to be, there is a need for me to say that there are some things before my life comes to a close I would like to see finished, if only to honor. And you see him give us, it's like a sad smile, to honor my fallen friends and the hunters.
Well, let's hope we can figure out what secrets this thing is hiding. And maybe I can use some of the abilities it gives me to do some good without drawing too much attention to myself on a cosmic scale.
That would be wise of you. And if you find yourself in over your head with it for any reason, you may always come and find me.
I'll hold you to that.
Good. Gives you a warm smile.
She smiles back. But I suppose I'll leave you to the rest of your break and presumably back to training some new people.
We gotta do our part to make sure that they keep surviving. Have a good day, Lilith.
You too. Until next time. And she'll stand up and kind of fold the chair back up and lean it against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Do a polite bow and turn to make her way out.
Mm-hmm. You leave. He slowly rises, and you hear him project his voice as he calls out over the training field for anyone waiting to come and receive instruction. You leave the clangor of the White Cross Company camp. To which I think everyone is heading back towards the heart of the camp. And given that we are at time, I think we're going to call it there tonight. So, yeah, that's it. Done. Hopefully next week, everybody's in positions and better places to be able to join us.
Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Lest we do more crafting. Yeah. So hopefully people can join us next week. That would be great. I mean, we're done. So I mean, the classic. Thank you for playing. You lot, and thank you all for watching. Those of you who are here, and I'm always thankful and glad to be able to run games and play games with friends. And we'll see you here same time next week. I'm still telling myself I'll stream again sometime this week. Maybe tomorrow night. We'll see. Otherwise, you know, when the world gets hard and you need some help, the best thing you can do is try to make good choices. So do that, and we'll see you next week. And we're gonna go raid Door Tales.
Bye-bye.
So bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And now we wait for the raid to start.
All one of us.
One Mississippi.
I don't know. Now I won't lie to you. Now I'm sitting here staring at him like it's just I'm sending one person over. Do I still do this? Kind of feels wrong.
That one person might be me too, so.
Yeah. I know. Clearly, I'm missing all my big players today, so no one showed up. Gosh.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
everybody comes for Adi's accent. Nobody comes for us side characters.
It is weird. It is weirdly charming. You never know what she's
Experts are
saying.
Still trying to decipher it to this
Yeah.
day.
You never know what she's saying, but you just want to hear her say more.
Well, you can't hear her. That's the whole problem.
Yeah. Not today.